Hi everyone, this is me again, and this is Listening Response Competency Testing Part 1. I had done a beautiful, well I thought it was beautiful, 30-minute lecture on the competencies, and when I uploaded it to YouTube, it wasn't until after it attempted to upload and then discarded, told me that it was too long. So my apologies. So this will be part A and part B. So what I want to do is show you the prompt and talk about the different listening styles. That'll be part 1, and then part 2 will be how you actually will be testing. So let's do it that way. So if you go to Learning Module 6, Learning Unit 6, and this is what you see, and here's all the directions. The prompt and test, that's done. You have a paraphrasing skill and a listening responses skill, and each of these are the 2 prompts, much like the one on perception checking, and so we're going to be looking at those. Actually, the paraphrasing is in terms of studying a form of afterthought. It's just isolating one of the types. So I posted this listening discussion video that I think is very helpful so that you understand why we're looking at the different listening response styles. And so that is there. The competency testing is here. We will come to that in part 2. Okay? So looking at the listening responses prompt, excuse me. All right, so if you've looked at the other video, you know that listening is critical to the communication process, and hence critical to relationship building. And again, how we respond is so important, because it's part of, whenever we respond, we are building the relationship. And so we are responding. When we respond, we're not only telling the other person just how we were listening, to what information we were focusing, but also the relationship with that person. So each of these are 5 of the key styles that are represented. Not all of them, but they're the ones that are most widely recommended in the national and international communication associations. And so I like to reflect that. So there's 5 different styles. They each require us to focus on different things. They also tell the person a different relationship. Okay? So paraphrasing is the first. And paraphrasing is when you put into your own words what you understood the message to be. Not repeating like a parrot. That's called parroting. But in your own words, what did you understand it to be? You leave out your opinion, you leave out your advice, you leave out trying to figure it out, you leave out trying to understand the person. You simply are mirroring or reflecting what the person said. It's for purposes of clarification only. What the message is saying is that, you know what, I just want to make sure I understand you. It's not about me here, it's about you. All right? When do you use paraphrasing? Well, we use it when we are trying to confirm. You know, you give me directions to a party, and I want to repeat them. And when I repeat them and you say, great, you got it, perfect. If I repeat them and I got something wrong, you tell me, I repeat it again, I'm going to make it to the party, right? But there's other ways to use paraphrasing. When we are lost for words and we want to say something, sometimes a paraphrase can be very helpful. It can be a form of perception checking. So wait, let me make sure I understood you. This is what I heard you say. It's also if somebody just needs to be listened to. You know, a person may come to you and say, I just need to vent. I just need to have you listen to me. They're asking for a paraphrase, typically. It's egoless. People who are egocentric or who are stubborn or who have made up their minds about things have a terrible time paraphrasing. This is an important skill in conflict, in anger management, because when we get into conflict and we get defensive or aggressive, we're not thinking about the other person at all. And if we can click into paraphrasing, it's fabulous because it takes us out of our head and into the head of our partner, not into the head, but focusing on your partner. And it also is a way to come to mutual understanding. In conflict, this is imperative because if you can't understand each other, you can't begin to resolve the conflict. So paraphrasing, evaluating or judgment. Anytime you place a value on something, you are passing a judgment. Typically, we think of this as in a negative term. You can certainly evaluate in a positive way, like, wow, that was a great job. But that's called supportive responding. We're typically looking at negative. You're passing a judgment. Whenever you say should or should not, must not, if you were me, if you were like me, or, if I were you, those are all statements saying, I know what's right for you. Now, it may be a case where it is. I do that with students. You know what? That was not a very good introduction for the speech. This is what you should do to make it better, okay? But I'm trained, right? But when it comes to day-to-day interaction, who's the expert? I don't know. Okay, you have to be very careful because what it says, the implication relationally is, hey, I know better than you. Okay, so it's a superior-inferior. Empathy is the next, and it's listening for the purpose of trying to understand the other person's position. This is different from paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is just, hey, this is what I understood you to say. Empathy is trying to understand the person who has said the message. Okay? Example, I come to you and I say, oh my God, I've had the worst possible day ever. I got a parking ticket. I was late to class. I forgot to bring a paper to submit, right? Your paraphrase might be, wow, it sounds like you've had a string of events that have not gone well today, right? And that would be a paraphrase. Empathy would be, wow, I can imagine how frustrated you are because I know how important it is to you to be on time and to turn in your work, right? So it's trying to see what's happening from the other person's position. You might have reacted to that situation with, oh, well, what the heck, I'll go pay my ticket. But it's not about you. It's about the other person. And I'm going to keep moving because I don't want to overdo my time. But I'm going to talk about empathy a lot more in part 2. It's a critical skill in friendships and ongoing relationships. Advising. This is for the purpose of giving advice. Advice is specific things to do. We can say don't do something, and that can be okay, but it's only half the picture. Don't do this, but what do you want me to do? Make sure you understand the advice, that it's good, that it's appropriate, and also don't make it into a judgment. You should do this, you shouldn't do that, if I were you, okay, advising. Analyzing is the final type, and this is where you try to prompt the other person through your response to think about an issue, like why something might be happening, what might be contributing, what are options, things like that. So it's the critical thinking response, all right? So any of these you can use as a response to any situation. But one, you're listening for different things. When empathy, I'm trying to think about the other person. My focus is on the other person. When I'm advising, I'm thinking about what could really fix this, right? Or what would be a good plan? And when you're paraphrasing, you're just saying, okay, what's this person saying to me? And when you respond in those ways, you're talking about, okay, this is an equal relationship, this is superior, inferior, I'm really trying to understand you, I know what's right, all these different things. So that goes back to the video, or not the video, the recording that I made just prior to this. So that is lesson on competencies part 1, all right? I'll make sure this uploads, and then we'll go to part 2, all right?